James Harden has got to be the most bitchiest, Karen-esque NBA superstar players of all time. It seems like this guy's MO is every single year to ask out of a situation he put himself in. Every single year he demands a trade from a team he wanted to be traded to. He quit on the Houston Rockets, wanted to go to Brooklyn. They traded him to Brooklyn. A year later, he quit on the Brooklyn Nets, then demanded a trade to Philly. They got him to Philly, and now he is quitting on the Philadelphia 76ers and wants out of Philly. And James Harden, I have never seen this ever. James Harden publicly called out the president of basketball operations and GM Daryl Morey, calling him a liar and saying, I will never be a part of an organization that Daryl Morey is in. Here is the video.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
So as you can tell, it looks like this is like a James Harden basketball camp currently overseas in China. And James Harden is a shrewd operator. He told everyone, and it said, I'm going to just say this again to make sure that the cameras and the records were rolling, that I don't want to play for Philly anymore. Daryl Morey is a liar. And he did that in the same exact country, a country that previously denounced Morey for his Hong Kong tweets and defending the protesters. So this was publicly planned by James Harden. But nonetheless, man, James Harden continues to bitch, continues to moan, continues to complain. Any sign of inconvenience, this guy is looking for the next door out. He is about to be on his fourth team in 4.5 years. That tells you a lot about a person's intestinal fortitude. Any sign of inconvenience, he wants out the door. But listen, there's no shock that GMs and owners lie to players all the time. And I'm pro player movement, okay? But when this constant stuff happens, when you have a player demanding to get traded to a team, demanding to get traded to a situation, and they fulfill his wishes, and a year later, not even a year later, he demands out, when the next collective bargaining agreement comes to the table, the owners are going to have plenty of evidence to say, this is why players have too much power, and as owners, we need to take back some of that power. But it's no secret that Daryl Morey is a liar. I mean, Chris Paul was on his Pivot podcast, and he even said that Daryl Morey reassured him that he would not get traded to the OKC Thunder. Here's the clip.
Daryl Morey. That's always great. My man Daryl Morey had called me like a week before while I was in Vegas. He was like, you don't want to get traded to OKC, right? I was like, nah, not at this point, in my career. He was like, okay, cool, I won't do that because you chose to come to us. Fast forward a week later, I was on the phone with my wife, and then it said Daryl was calling, and then it popped up on Bleacher Report that I had been traded to OKC.
And as you can see, behold, Chris Paul was traded to OKC. So there's been reports out there that James Harden took a $15 million pay cut, and that Daryl Morey reassured him in the next summer that he would take care of his boy, and that turns out to be not the case. This is from NBA Central, now Duck Central, that the Sixers never made an offer to James Harden this summer per the John Clark NBCS guy. I'm told that the Sixers never had an agreement, made an offer, or exchanged proposals with James Harden and his reps heading into this year's free agency. Now again, owners and GMs lie all the time. So when players say, hey, I want out of this situation, I am all for it. But with this particular example with James Harden demanded to get traded to a team, and any sign of inconvenience, any sign of small hardship, he wants out the door. It is not favorable for him, for people in the media to side with his side. But Daryl Morey, I mean, listen, hey, Philly is in a clusterfuck right now, this situation, okay? Joel Embiid is in his prime. He's 29 years old. You traded away a lot of your pieces to get James Harden to compete for a championship. If James Harden wants out the door, who the hell are you going to get back for him? Because he wanted to go to the Clippers. If I'm the Clippers, I don't want James Harden. I'm not going to give up a valuable piece to get a guy who has a track record of quitting on his team year after year after year. I'm staying the hell away from that. So clearly, Philly is in a no-win situation, because if you trade James Harden, you're not going to get a valuable player back. You're not going to get an all-star caliber player back, especially in James Harden where he's at in his career now. So then that's going to lead to a pissed off Embiid because he's like, who's his second best player going to be? Maxey, Tobias Harris? I'm sorry, but those two players are not enough to contend for a championship, especially in the Eastern Conference where Boston ain't going nowhere. The Bucks ain't going nowhere, okay? So those two teams that they're going to have to see every single year, they ain't going nowhere. So, and New York is going to get better. So if I'm Philly and he's just like, well, if I'm Embiid, I don't want to be here no more. He's going to get disgruntled and say, hey, get me up out of here, because knowing Embiid's injury history, he only has a short amount of time to maximize his prime to contend for a championship. And if James Harden does not get traded, we see what James Harden did in Houston, putting on that fat suit and pretty much dogging it, not putting 100% effort into the game, showing everybody, say, yo, get me up out of here. He did the same thing in Brooklyn, dogging it, not giving 100% effort. Who's to say that he's going to do the exact same thing, especially after publicly calling out his own GM on video and even repeating it again to make sure that the cameras and the audio caught every single word he said. So this is a messy, disgusting, volatile situation in Philly. They're going to have to move James Harden, and they might just get crumbs and cookies for him. But let me know what you guys think about this whole James Harden, Daryl Morey situation. Leave your comments down below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.